This is the 78th edition of the Sports Lounge. We're going to talk plenty of golf, plenty of race car driving, and plenty of other stuff. We got Wyatt Rogenkamp on the chat here. We got the yellow man here, Mr. Stack, and Mr. Charlie Hildebrand here as well. I'm Travis Kriens. Shane Koob may join the conversation later. But 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, or so, the 96th PGA Championship concluded. Rory McIlroy leading by 1 at the start of the day, down by 2 at the middle portion of the day. Ends up winning it by 1 over Phil Mickelson, 16 under, very impressive. Final Sunday, not very good, a 68, which may sound pretty good when you got guys putting up 66s and 65s. It was not the best of Sundays for Rory McIlroy. They really turned it on there, the final 9 holes. Initial thoughts here as Mr. McIlroy, his 3rd win in a row, his 2nd major in a row, his 4th major overall. Let's go to the yellow man, Mr. Stacken.
It's really looking good for me. I think Rory is the star. Schottenkirk and I have kind of gone back and forth about what golf needs in terms of a star or whatnot, and Rory certainly is a star in this game, and the fact that he is starting to dominate makes it only better for the game of golf. And he did not go away winning this one by 7, 8 strokes. Maybe that's something we would like to see a dominant golfer do, but he certainly had his struggles today. But to come back from 3 strokes down to win, and then I think it's great. I think he's in a zone right now. It's not quite approaching Tiger from back in his heyday when he was winning all those Tiger slams, but I think this is very, very good for the game of golf.
Can you move?
Well, yeah, but he was winning it multiple times.
You got the what appears to be the sun in the background here. I know it's a light, but
I got so excited that I just started peeing everywhere, and of course the whole room got yellow.
Can you move a little bit in either direction? Your face.
Right on here.
Switch. Mr. Hildebrand, did you catch any of the festivities here?
I did. I watched a fair amount of it. I think certainly the rain delay softened up the greens to make a lot of the ridiculous shots a lot easier when you can just kind of stick the ball on the green without it having to roll. Like Travis mentioned, Rory didn't play as well as he did the previous 3 days, but when you build up a lead, it doesn't matter. He played well enough to win, and that's all that history will really remember. And he has 4 majors now, and by my quick Wikipedia check,
that means
he is one of 27 guys ever in the history of golf to win 4 majors in his career. So that puts him in pretty elite company so far. I think it's safe to assume that he's got a good chance of at least winning a handful more throughout his career. We'll see how long he could go. Going back to our conversation from like 4 years ago, I think he needs to win another 8 to meet Stacken's expectations. But either way, he's had a fantastic summer, and I think, he's going to enter the next few really big tournaments as the favorite going in, and I think that's well deserved. So we'll see what he can do. He certainly, whether it's fair or not, people are going to look at him as the guy replacing Tiger Woods.
The fact that he's won 3 straight tournaments too just speaks to the dominance in the zone that he is in right now. I hope that this carries over to next year when the majors come around, but he's really feeling it right now.
This was the perfect script as far as you're concerned with the tournament. You had the big name, Phil Mickelson, right there at the end. Up until the last hole, you had a Rory McIlroy, the #1 player in the world. You had a Rickie Fowler, another up-and-coming star. He had a top 5 finishes in all the majors, a tremendous year for him. You had Henrik Stenson, another top 5 player in the world. This was the perfect tournament, was it not, as far as it being close? A lot of guys had a chance to win, and a lot of big-name, good players at the top of the board.
The only thing that could have made it better.
I agree with that. I mean, there were 4 or 5 guys still in contention in the back 9, and I always like that. I think it's more fun when there's 4 or 5 as opposed to just 2. I mean, 2's fine also. Basically, as long as there's more than one, it's good. But I like 4 and 5, and like you said, most of them were at least fairly well-known golfers. I don't know a great deal about Henrik Stenson, other than the fact that he's from Sweden. But certainly I know a little bit more about the other guys, and they're well-known guys, and it was good down the stretch, and it was fun. It'd be nice if every major was like this.
Only thing that would have made it better was if Tiger Woods was playing in one of the final 2 groups and was in contention for that major. If you had him, Phil, and Rory playing there and really vying for that top spot, that's the only possible thing I think that could have made this tournament better. But I mean, there were one time 5 guys were tied for the lead at 12 under, and I think that the rain, while not great, but think about how dark it was there. That draws in a lot of suspense and everything. I was just taking a look quick at the ratings from over the weekend for the Masters this past year. It was 8.6 million viewers they're estimating. So I would anticipate that, given the pairings that we had, I would expect to see 12 to 13 million at least watching the PGA Championship's final round.
I want to see what past numbers are for the PGA and base it on that. The Masters is the biggest tournament of the year, so I don't know if the PGA even outdraws the Masters, or if it's
I'll get right on that.
Okay, so it'd be nice to get 10 million. I don't know if it would outdraw the Masters just based on the event itself. Obviously, the PGA is the least of the 4 majors. However, this was by far the best of the 4 majors this year, no doubt. You've mentioned the rain, about an hour plus rain delay there. That, I think, really added to the intrigue. As Charlie said, you could head right for the hole there, right for the green. The ball wasn't going to move at all. Birdies, eagles galore. That really added something to it. I mean, I don't know what the stats are on this, but you got a guy at 16 under, you got a guy at 15 under, you got 2 at 14. It's got to be one of the lowest scoring tournaments, lowest scoring PGAs in a long time, I would have to assume, because you have, let's see, about 14 guys here in double digits under par. So really fun to watch, very entertaining, exactly what we wanted to see here. Rickie Fowler, can he keep this up?
I don't know. I mean, this is the best, 5th in the Masters and 2nd in the U.S. Open, 2nd in the British Open, 3rd in the PGA Championship. That's I think the best, what they call aggregate score of the year. At some point, he's going to break through. You have to think so. And at some point, I think people will just get scared by that orange and just back off and say, "Wow, you just gotta win a major." But he's certainly rising right up there, and I think at one point he'll break through. But he's certainly one of the top golfers in the world right now.
The orange might be a negative. I mean, it's got to throw off your swing whenever you're trying to stare at the ball and you keep getting this reflection of orange whenever you're trying to focus. I think true. Until proven otherwise, I'm going to assume that he's the next Sergio Garcia and just the guy that is the good-looking, tiny golfer that the girls really like. That's a really good golfer, but generally doesn't win any majors because neither of them have won any yet. And you know what? That's not the worst tab to have when you're, 24 years old. He's got plenty of time to win majors. But until then, I'm looking at him as the U.S. version of Sergio Garcia.
He doesn't have quite the attitude that Sergio does.
Rory's the guy now. There was a lot of talk about a change in era, so to speak, during the broadcast this weekend. So if that signifies that, I'm fine with that. Rickie Fowler, we'll see if he can keep this up, but would he be a good number 2 to have? Rory's number 1 now. Is he a good guy to have as that number 2, that Phil Mickelson, that Sergio Garcia, whatever you want to call him?
I think so. He's young, and I think he draws people in because he's not quite as stuck up of a golfer, at least it would appear not. He seems to have some fun with the uniform and everything, and I think that actually draws people to him and like him and say, "Oh, that guy wearing the orange, oh, who is that?" People will start to recognize him more and more as he wins these tournaments, or once he breaks through and wins a tournament. My brother doesn't watch much golf, and he came and sat down with me once he got here and said, "Oh, how's Rickie Fowler doing?" He said, "I'm a fan because he seems to be a little bit more out there and not quite like most golfers. So I think that would be great for the game of golf. And yeah, have that young guy, Schottenkirk's favorite, Jordan Spieth, if he could break through, have those three be the class of golf for the next decade or two would be very good.
I think they basically just need somebody else to consistently challenge them. I don't think it matters who it is, whether they're, flamboyant or have a personality or wear bright colors or not. They just need someone who can consistently compete on Saturday and Sundays in big tournaments. And that certainly could be Fowler. It might not be, but he certainly got a good chance of doing it.
The crack-smoking Dustin Johnson, too, might be a suitable option as well.
It'd be interesting. It'd sure be fun.
Yeah, when he comes
he
back,
probably could tell the best stories.
There you go. Rory McIlroy, why does he struggle Sundays? Last two majors here, he's gotten off to bad starts. He still won, like Charlie said. That's the only thing that matters. But not dominant, even though he was at 16 under. This was his worst round of the tournament. What is it about the Sundays, the front nine? He does not run away with this.
I don't know. I just don't. And I think that's the one thing keeping him from being a dominant player, a completely dominant player, is putting that pedal to the metal and keeping it all the way down on Sundays. I don't quite know what it is yet, if it's a mindset, if he just doesn't have that killer mentality yet.
But
I think it will get there eventually.
Once things get close, like you saw today, he was behind by 2 shots, and then he really kicked it in the ass there, and it's like he needed to get punched in the mouth, and he's like, oh shit, I gotta get going here. I'm down.
Maybe he gets disinterested. I mean, you know how sometimes players, whether it be a team sport or in an individual sport, sometimes play down to their competition. Maybe Rory just has to do that. That's probably a bad overall analogy, but
I would give another idea opposed to what Stacken has said and say that possibly it could just be kind of the law of averages. If you're going to have probably 2 great rounds and 2 not as good rounds if you're in contention, and his just happened to be on days that are not Sunday, and that mathematically it's tough to get better every single round and finish with a shooting a 62 on Sunday. So my guess would be he's still overall. He still played well on Sunday. He didn't have the best round of the day, but he still played fine. I would say it's just a moving more to the mean, mathematically speaking, because I took so many math classes in school.
Are you wanting a Martin Keimer type U.S. Open finish, Kriens? Is that what you're looking for?
From him, yes, because if he wants to be the guy. He said your brother doesn't watch golf, but Rickie Fowler is a draw to him because he's different and he stands out. I want to know if Rory McIlroy is a draw to non-golf fans like Tiger Woods is. Is he that guy?
I think he can be. He...
And does he have to be dominant for that to happen like Tiger Woods was when he goes out there at 21 years old and laps the field?
Are you saying dominant within the tournament itself, or dominant like he has been the last few tournaments and win these 3 consecutive tournaments he's been in?
That too, but dominant within the tournament. If we're talking a next level now, we're not talking major wins. We're talking how good are you in the majors? How dominant are your wins? It's like Jordan and LeBron. You don't start the conversation with titles. You start the conversation with how many titles in a row have you won, how many MVPs have you won in a row, how dominant are you? So we're going, that's nice. You've won 4 majors, you've won 7, you've won 8 majors. Have you won any of them by 5 or 10 shots? Have you done anything historic, or have you just eked by? He did have that British Open that he won by almost 10 shots.
Yeah. I think now that he is starting to win these consecutive tournaments in a row, that he's really starting to get in the main line, streaming it, and where casual fans will start to watch him. And then once that's when he really needs to start winning these bigger these tournaments by 5, 6, 7 strokes, and they'll say, "Wow, this guy's really good. I might watch more." I think he's just trying to draw more people in right now, and then he needs to start dominating.
I don't think it's fair to say a lot of this stuff. I mean, there have only been 3 guys ever that have won double-digit majors, along with Nicklaus and Woods. Third is Walter Hagen with 11, and nobody else has won more than 9. I mean, I think it's kind of like, to use the basketball way that Kriens was saying earlier, that, Nicklaus was kind of like Wilt Chamberlain, and Woods is kind of like Michael Jordan, and to try to start putting that on McIlroy now, I don't think is fair. I would say, and some people will do it anyways. I realize that, but I would say, let him go ahead and try to get that, that first Masters and be the 6th guy to win all 4 majors ever, and we'll slowly start going from there. I mean, he's 26 or whatever, and it's been really good up to now. And let's not say, okay, you need to be the guy for the next 15 years, or else you're in trouble and you failed to meet expectations.
For me,
did you try and say that earlier this week by saying? Go ahead, Kriens.
Mr. Stack.
Oh, I was just going to say, didn't Jack Nicklaus try and do that earlier? Rory could 15 to 20 majors. So Jack inadvertently is either trying to put the kiss of death on Rory's chances, or he's really trying to talk him up to save the sport of golf.
I don't think golf's in danger of dying anytime soon. I think it'll be okay.
Stacking 4 years ahead of Jack Nicklaus here.
Just call me.
Call me
Stacking Damas.
What do you got? Promote promote whatever the hell you got there. What do you got?
Leinenkugels, right?
We got Leinenkugels. Do that again.
It's normally Leinenkugels, but we're doing
black.
Lemon Shandy.
Okay, Lemon Shandy. There you go. Stacken's he's gotten a lot of guff over the years. Stacken's got a lot of guff over the years for saying, the 20 majors thing. He's got 4 right now. I said he'd get 4, so I'm probably going to be off a little bit. But Stacken's reputation long term for the next 10 years, really, he can really make something of himself here. If this guy wins like 12 majors, Stacken can say, see, I really went on the limb here. So it's big for Stacken.
And he could be right. It might happen. I mean, I'm not saying it can't.
And then we need to...
Then what?
I think we need to play that clip then to all the news organizations, and then I'll be an ESPN golf analyst.
Very good. But for me personally,
I'll be up in the tour with Jim Nantz.
You and Jim Nantz. Great. For me personally, this was the tournament. If he could win this, especially since he did so well the first 2-3 days, if he could win this, 2 in a row, 4 majors, I thought this was the one that would elevate him to say, okay, he's going to be around for a while. Because with me, the biggest problem I have with him is his inconsistency. I saw that 80-82 in the Masters on that Sunday still sticks in my mind, and has not been overly impressive the last 2 Sundays. But as has been said before, you don't need to shoot a 66 on a Sunday if you are the 54-hole leader. You only have to win by 1. So McIlroy, looking, he'll be the favorite for the Masters here coming up in 8 months, looking for that career Grand Slam. So lots of excitement with golf. Another superstar here in the making. Phil Mickelson, I believe I've counted up here, his 9th runner-up in a major. I believe he's won 5 of them. Yes, he's won 5 of them. Has not won that the U.S. Open 6 times. Runners-up in the U.S. Open 9 overall. He's 44 years old. The big story with Jack Nicklaus, he won that Masters at 46. I think the bigger story there was that he came behind by so many strokes there at the end, too, on top of how old he was. How much longer could Phil Mickelson compete here at the majors? It had been, he'd been in a little bit of a slump this year, but can we expect 2, 3, 4 more years here of Phil Mickelson top 5 finishes?
I don't know about 4. I think maybe optimistically, because I'm thinking he's 44 now. I think
44. He'll turn 45 in June.
Yeah, I think it's realistic to think that if he stays healthy, he could do this for another year, maybe 2 years, and it's possible he could do it for another 4 or 5. But being that Nicklaus is the oldest to win a major, I think it's putting too much on him to expect, okay, you need to keep golfing through your early 50s and competing in these to try to win. And kind of like with how I said, or earlier in terms of majors, where was this here? Mickelson's got 5. He's won. Yeah, he's got 5. He's one of only 19 people to ever win 5. So, he's obviously on the short list of all-time great golfers currently playing. And if he doesn't win anymore, I mean, you can still say that you saw, he's not Tiger Woods. I don't think anyone will.
He's the second best of his era.
Yeah, I think you would have to say that. And that's not necessarily a bad thing when the best of your era is at worst the second best golfer in the history of the world.
There you go.
I give him 2 years, but he's got some erratic starts, and so I don't know if we'll ever see him play this close again anywhere other than maybe the Masters. That seems to be. I'll give him the Masters as the best shot of winning another major.
Does this PGA, does this make you interested in these playoffs coming up, or is it going to depend on, is McIlroy at the top of the list, the named golfers, do they have to be at that top of the list for you to care here with these playoffs coming up?
When are the golf playoffs?
A month or two? A month here, September.
And is there another sport going on at that time?
College softball is not going on, so.
I'm of the 4 majors, and I don't care about anything else, guy. I don't care about the Ryder Cup or anything. I watch the back 9 of the 4 majors.
You love your NFL.
You're defined by how many. Yeah, the NFL is what I mean. So no, I won't be watching the golf playoffs. I mean, I'll keep track of it, but I won't watch it at all. I'll catch the highlights on SportsCenter. Golf is you are defined by how many majors you win. That is ultimate. I mean, yes, you can win like 30 tournaments, but if you only win 2 majors, is that incredibly meaningful? No, you are defined by your majors. That's what I pay attention to.
There you go. Shifting focus now to the probably the biggest story in sports was Tony Stewart on the dirt track in northern New York late last night. Runs over 20-year-old Kevin Ward Jr. They got in a little crash. It looks like Stewart didn't give him a lot of room on the outside, but this Ward Jr. kid, he crashes. And then in the crashes, and then in the span of about 30 or about 60 seconds, he is ran over by the rear right tire of Tony Stewart, dead right there on the track. Terrible incident. Both guys, in my opinion, are at fault. What was your initial reaction when you heard about this, and have you seen the video of the accident? Charlie Hildebrand.
I haven't seen it. My initial reaction was surprise. I saw Traxler said something about it, and then I went and checked on Twitter, me being new to Twitter and how that works. I wanted to see how stories kind of evolve on that, and I saw that. It's a crappy deal. I mean, we don't know. I haven't seen the video. I think it's probably safe to assume that he wasn't like, hey, let's purposely run this guy over, but maybe he did. I don't know. I think, all in all, it's a crappy deal, and it sucks that someone died. I mean, I think it's safe to say that you don't ever want that to happen in any kind of sport or activity.
Deadspin's got a good little deal on that. So.
News outlets other than the big sports one. I mean, I first saw it on CNN. I saw the video as I was watching golf today, and I thought it seemed cut or spliced with him crashing and then getting out. I don't know why you would be charging cars that are going at that fast of a speed and whatnot, but it's just a bum deal all around. Tony, I'm sure, feels absolutely terrible for what happened. I don't know how on purpose. I seriously wonder how you could live with yourself, or at least for a little bit, knowing that you ran over another fellow editor.
Why Rogan can't?
Yeah, I think same in football. I think if you paralyzed a guy in football or killed someone there, Like, how do you go about playing a rain again?
It'd be rough. Like initially, he was going to race today, but then it came out about 9, 10 o'clock. He said, "I'm not going to race," which was probably the better call. Mr. Rogenkamp, I assume you follow NASCAR more than the PGA Tour. Am I right in this assumption? Okay. Do you have any thoughts on the Mr.
I saw the headline on Facebook, actually, on the little upper right-hand corner. There's always the links that they think will interest you. And at first I thought it was kind of a hoax or a joke or something, and then I clicked on it and read the article. And I haven't seen the video, nor do I want to. It's kind of like I compare it to the beheading of children going on in the Middle East. I really don't want to see it. So I'm guessing that Mr. Stewart is going through some difficult times and will be for a long time. And hopefully it all works out for both parties. So, I mean, it didn't for the guy that got killed, obviously. But, yeah, what a sad deal.
The video's about a minute long. Nathan, you saw it there? Did you see him get ran over?
Yeah, I saw about 20 seconds of it, just what CBS showed. And like I said, it got spliced, but you can see Kevin Jr. charging at the other cars. And I know you're probably ticked for getting, you're ticked at getting wrecked in this little event, and perhaps the other drivers should have just slowed down. I mean, maybe let's wave the flag and go at a slower speed while they get the wreck off the track. But
it happened immediately the next lap. It happened very quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
the caution
just
was
stay in
out.
your car and confront him afterward.
The caution was out. I saw a report. Tony Stewart apparently was going about 30-35, according to a press conference they had here about 1-2 o'clock. So the caution was out. If he does charge Tony Stewart's car, it looks like Stewart accelerates, hits the gas. I don't know if he's trying to. I'm guessing he's trying to scare him, throw some dirt on him, trying to say, "Get out of my way," because I'm pretty sure he saw him. And then the worst thing happened, and he runs him over with his back right tire, and he's just laying there. He just flips over, and it's done.
If Stewart's trying to do that, he's an idiot.
Yeah, and Tony Stewart's been known. He's kind of, I don't know. A lot of people don't like him in the racing world because he's got that
temper,
head trip going on. Yeah, that too. I would imagine that running somebody over would be, in my mind, kind of a bigger deal than, say, killing somebody in like a, I don't know, football game or something, like tackling them and killing them. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Or even in the act of racing, somebody like Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt gets thrown into the wall. It's even worse than dying in the field of battle, whatever you want to call it, in the heat of the moment, because that's inside the race car. Those things happen. You hear about a couple guys every year dying in a race car of some sorts, but you never hear about somebody getting ran over.
Yeah, and it's because most of the time when you're in that situation, you are defenseless. If you're in a car or you're getting run over by a car, you really can't do much about it past the initial reaction time. Mm-hmm. So, my take.
You've seen guys throw their helmets. So usually in NASCAR, maybe they get pissed off. They throw their helmets at the guy that wrecked them. There's a video there of Tony Stewart a couple years ago, I think about 2 years ago. He took his helmet off, threw it at Matt Kenseth, threw it at his car. So he did basically a similar thing to this Kevin Ward Jr. Pissed off, got out of the car. The difference was this was in pit row. It wasn't out in the middle of the track. So a little bit of a different situation there. Tony Stewart, big time NASCAR driver, likes to go to the small tracks, the dirt tracks with the sprint cars. Should he continue to do this? Because last year he broke his leg, missed the last couple months of the season, a lot of money lost there. This year remains to see if I'm sure he'll race again this season. We'll see if it's next week or not. But should he continue, as big of a star as he is, should he continue to race these small dirt track races?
No.
I would say no as well. I think in the best interest of himself and everyone else, it'd be probably appropriate that he get out of that area of racing.
I would say no strong opinion.
Would you expect him to race again on a dirt track after this?
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do it anymore. I mean, I'm not a racing guy, but I would imagine if you go to some small track where you're the big hotshot NASCAR driver and it's a bunch of local guys who aren't ever going to be famous, they probably, you get singled out and targeted in ways more. So certainly you could avoid some stuff going on by just not doing it in the first place.
In other news of note, start with baseball, since I keep stacking waiting on this Vikings talk. A storyline that I'm interested in here. Who won this 19-inning game? Did it go 19 innings? Tigers, Toronto. Is this
the Blue Jays did.
Is this over with?
Yes, it's over. The Blue Jays won in 19, right on the heels of the Red Sox-Angels game.
So they make the big
which got done, I think, at 5 in the morning.
That was very, very early. Very early. It either got over late or early, depending on your perspective on that.
I wonder if they started serving breakfast at the ballpark.
Get your hot ham and cheese.
I'm at 5 a.m. Eastern time.
Get your eggs. Get everything in there. So it's safe to say it did not make the morning papers. We didn't do a show last week. Me and Traxxer did the old school podcast, audio only, quarterly thing. But Detroit, they made the big trade for David Price last week from Tampa Bay. They currently sit a half game better than the Kansas City Royals, who currently lead the wild card standings. I am going to be a huge Royals fan. I think I've finally stacked and I finally come around on Kansas City. I think they're for real. They did well last year. They're doing better this year. They're leading the wild card right now. I so badly want them to win the division, and I want Detroit to not. I want the Tigers not even to make the wild card playoff game. Very unlikely to happen. But how much are you rooting for this? Detroit making the moves that they don't even make the play-in game. How great would that be?
You know what? No, Traxxer in our baseball preview said that he thought the Royals would get in as a wild card this year. I said I was a little skeptical. I thought they'd be right on the verge, but I always cheer for these really awful teams to rise up from the ashes and make it to the postseason. The Royals were close last year. I thought maybe next year would be their year.
That's you root for the terrible teams.
What's that?
You root for the terrible teams
To do good.
So that's why you root
Yes.
that's why you root for USA Soccer.
Oh,
Continue.
very nice. No, I would have cheered for. Well, anyway. Yes, that's why I cheer for USA Soccer. Anyway, I think the Royals are a bat away from being a really good team, and I mean like power hitter in their lineup. But what they're doing is very good. But I will caution people when saying that, oh, the Royals have this going for them in such great momentum because they had a 10-game win streak and then promptly lost 12 of their next 15 or whatever. Now that they've won 7 in a row, I don't know what the Tigers are doing, but I would love to see a Kansas City-Pittsburgh World Series, and I would watch every minute of it. I will sit down. I will not watch it probably or not watch much of it if it's Angels or Yankees and
What if it's Dodgers?
I don't know, the Cardinals say.
You wouldn't watch Dodgers, Oakland?
I would watch parts of it, but I would not be sitting down there and making sure that I watch every inning as if it were Royals Pirates.
Okay.
It would be a win-win World Series to see one of these terrible teams one of these teams that's had such a bad history the last 20, 25 years win a World Series. I hope, like you, that the Royals win this division. I just hope they make the playoffs. That's all I do.
Good.
I hope that the Royals make the playoffs and the Tigers don't, like Kriens said. I'm not expecting it to work out that way. I think usually, especially the more games you play, talent usually comes to the forefront and makes the difference in a lot of games. My guess is the Tigers are going to be the winners of the AL Central. In terms of what we'd want to see, I'm all in on the Oakland A's bandwagon.
Good.
I like that they went, you know what? Instead of doing Moneyball all the time, we're going to go all in on this season right now with these pitchers. And I like the movie Moneyball, so I hope the A's win the World Series. Although some of the other teams, some of the other teams you mentioned, I'd be fine with. I'd be okay if it was the Royals. I wouldn't. If it's not the A's, the Royals is an okay consolation prize for me.
I agree.
This is
with
not
you,
a bad.
Charlie. I like that.
Go ahead.
I've always been kind of an A's fan, and I definitely root for the Royals as well. You know, kind of an underdog rooter myself, so I like that statement there.
Very good. That's why you root.
And I'm not trying to backtrack.
What's that?
I'm not trying to backtrack here on my previous statement, or trying to disparage any of these baseball teams. But we all know that the Royals haven't been anything since '85, and the Pirates haven't been anything since '90. So, yeah, exactly. Since they won the World Series, I don't think the Royals have been back to the playoffs. So I'm not trying to say that these are awful teams now.
Bo Jackson was at Auburn last time they reached the series, for God's sake.
And now that the Royals and Pirates are good, I hope they can sustain this for years to come. I hope this isn't just a one-year wonder, because I think it's fresh for baseball to see these teams that were bad rise to the top. It's like the Rays. They were bad since their inception, and then about 7 years ago when Joe Madden came in, they started developing players, putting a winning product on the field, and I like seeing that from these smaller market clubs.
God, that was that long ago now. I feel really old thinking that it had been that long ago that the Rays were in the World Series.
It might have been more.
Yeah, good 5 years.
I think it was 6 years ago, but still, either way.
Yeah.
Oakland and the Angels, they're in the same division. They have the two best records in all of baseball. Also, an alternative, very unlikely scenario, I would love to see a Detroit-Oakland one-game playoff. I'd like to see the Angels overtake Oakland for the Western Division. I'd like to see Kansas City win the Central. That would leave Detroit and Oakland, the big ALCS prediction, which everybody will predict. I would love to see those two guys go out there. A one-game playoff, winner take all. Tremendous.
The two teams that were in the arms race to see who can collect the most talent the rest of the year in the one-game playoff to make the real playoffs.
Yes.
I'd be okay with that, too. I'd be upset if the A's lost, but if they win, I'm okay with that.
In essence, for that to happen, though, that would have to be sort of like a tiebreaker game, kind of like a few years ago with the Tigers and the Twins, right?
They've got two wild card spots now instead of one.
Oh.
Two wild card spots. This will be the third year of it. Major League Baseball trying to manufacture excitement because you had Twins Tigers a few years ago, very exciting. You had Twins White Sox the year before, very exciting. They want to they want to manufacture a one-game playoff situation. So they've got two wild cards now. It's worked the first 2 years. It will not work this year because, as I said, you've got Oakland and you've got the Angels, the two best records in all of baseball. One of those two teams, they're going to host the wild card game, and that's not good. One of those two teams is going to win 95 games, and they're going to be 9 innings away from not making the playoffs. And you're going to have some BS team like Kansas City or Toronto or the Yankees maybe beat Oakland or the Angels and get into the playoffs. A bad decision there by baseball.
Especially when they have to compete.
I do like how
with football season and what about another NHL lockout? Doesn't that go on about the same time usually?
Let's get that going. Let's get that going. Let's get it going, Stacken. Good thing Stacken's sitting down. He would have fainted.
I think he's just jaundice there.
No, it's Ebola. First off, I'm just going to bypass your comment, Wyatt, about the NHL lockout.
NHL,
Third,
NHL,
I will say that I saw
You're in quarantine right now, Stackhead.
Why it's so goddamn yellow in there?
Well, duh. I mean, that's I have to get my spirits up with this yellow around here. I would like to just say that. Well,
He's speechless.
But 4 and 7 games. So the Twins going to 3 of 4. So clearly the Twins are the good luck charm for every team to get well against.
They're the ass of the Central. They're the end of the Central.
Yes, they are.
Speaking of the Twins, they only got the fourth worst record in the AL, not terrible. So they may win 68 games this year. They do trade Kevin Correia late last night, early this morning to the Dodgers. So the Dodgers just acquiring number 5 starters like crazy. They got Roberto Hernandez from the Phillies. So they're just getting all these scrub pitchers for no reason. Josh Beckett got hurt again. That's a shock to many. So they've got 3 really good starters. They're looking for a 4th. So we'll see if Correia does anything for the Dodgers. The Twins, they do call up Trevor May a couple days ago. We've been waiting for Trevor May. We also want Alex Meyer up to pitch because the Twins need starting pitching very badly. Trevor May goes out and gives up 7 walks in 2 innings against the best team in baseball. That was a poor outing.
Solid.
A poor outing at best. But I would like to see him get 5 to 10 starts here in the last 50 games. See what you got. See what you can improve on. See how good he is. You got Tommy Milone coming up. I believe he's pitching either Monday or Tuesday against Houston, my Houston Astros. So you get to see that the guy they got for Sam Fuld from Oakland. So with Twins calling up some new starting pitchers now, I know you are very excited about Tommy Milone and Trevor May. Tell me how excited you are about that.
I'm super excited about it. I've been waiting for a while, and I've been saying, even as a non-Twins fan, if you're not going to compete for the playoffs, you might as well play all the young guys and give them their shot. And if you lose, so what? You were losing anyways. You might as well see what these guys are capable of.
There you go.
I was actually at the game last Tuesday against the Padres.
Was this your first trip to Target Field?
Yes.
Very good thoughts.
It's a great ballpark. I loved it. Good experience. We had good seats. Food was good. Atmosphere was good. Perfect night for baseball. But I liked that game in particular. I'll just quickly break it down. Hughes had 9 strikeouts. That was impressive. I got to watch Caleb Thielbar pitch for the first time live. SDSU grad. Vargas hit his first career home run. It was a 3-run shot. That was exciting. And I was impressed by our catcher play. I thought, is it Santana?
Kurt Suzuki.
Suzuki! My bad. Kurt. Yes. He actually impressed me. I think he picked off a guy at first, and then also they picked off a guy at home, and he reached around and take the guy out, and I was pretty impressed by his play. So I think the Twins are treading water, though. To tell you the truth, I don't think there's any exciting developments in the very near future, unfortunately.
We're waiting for some big bats to come up here sometime. Maybe late next year, definitely 2016. Yeah. We're waiting.
They're a little too addicted to those scrappy white infielders that don't bat well.
Like cocaine and Dustin Johnson's. They like it too much. They are at Houston here the next 3 nights. I'm big on Houston, as everybody knows. And they've got a big 10-game homestand with Central Division.
As you have a Mets hat on.
Go Mets! Also, I do.
Don't say your big hat. Yeah.
I do love them.
Yeah. Last time you had a Sox hat on.
It's the summer of the baseball caps, as the summer is winding down. So.
I guess you must have went to the mall and filled up a shopping cart full, huh?
All of these hats are at least a dozen years old, if not more.
What, you said you're leasing them? You have to give them back?
Elise Youngren gave me them.
Oh, okay. We're good.
I got these.
It's all good.
All these are at least a dozen years old. All these old.
Leased to you by Elise.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay.
You and Mr. Hildebrand, you can do the college T-shirts. Mr.
I'm rocking Florida State.
Very good.
Hey, last night I was at a Sawyer Brown concert. He had a Florida State shirt on. It was old school. I liked it.
We called each other. Me and Sawyer were like that.
That was, I don't know if you want me to tell the people this. That was part of the barbecue deal, was it not?
It was. It was. I'm okay. We don't need to keep that part under wraps anymore. I mean,
everybody knows.
Jeez, you get all the perks, don't you, Charlie?
Role. Well, you know, when you got it, you got to flaunt it.
Where'd you see Sawyer Brown at?
At the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City.
Nice. It could be a weekly segment, country concerts with Rogenkamp. Where did you see whoever the hell? Next week, you know, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, whoever the hell. You never know. You never know what's going on. Let's do some basketball talk. We'll delay the Viking talk one more segment. There.
Basketball.
Kevin Love.
Is the NBA season over yet?
It just started. It just started last week.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Kevin Love unofficially traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, about 2-3 weeks away from this getting going. So they get Andrew Wiggins, #1 overall pick this year. They get Anthony Bennett, bust, #1 overall pick last year. They get a first-round pick sometime next year or in 2 years. Are you happy with the trade from the Timberwolves' perspective?
They got Andrew Wiggins, and that is something I didn't think the Timberwolves would do. They are notorious, actually any Minnesota sports team is notorious for making terrible trades. And this time, the Timber Puppies actually did something for once. And Wiggins wanted to be traded here, according to Bill Self today.
Questionable, but we'll see.
So, let's see how Wiggins performs.
I think if you're a Timberwolves fan, you have to be happy with it. I think the last thing you wanted was to trade Love and not get one of the 3 big guys from the Cavs, being Wiggins or Kyrie Irving or LeBron, and obviously they weren't getting LeBron or Kyrie Irving. I think if you're a Cavs fan, you would try to weasel in a way to get Kevin Love and keep all 3 of your guys, but I don't know how realistic that was. Certainly, it sounds like the Timberwolves at least have one guy they can try to build around. I don't know if he's got the potential to be better than Kevin Love. He has not shown or proven any of that yet. So, you know, we'll see how it plays out.
He's won as many playoff games as Kevin Love, and he's been in as many playoff games as Kevin Love. So you know what?
Second, follow my finger. Follow my finger.
You're a black screen right now. Okay, now you're there. #1.
Very good.
No, he's giving you the peripheral vision test at the DMV. You gotta tell him when it comes into view. Now.
Oh, listen, I'm not getting pulled over. I'm not drunk.
How does this affect the development of one Andrew Wiggins? One side of the fence, you got, he can learn. He can learn from the greatest player on earth right now, LeBron James. He can learn so much from this guy. On the other hand, maybe his development would have been stunted a bit, since at best he's #3, probably even #4, #5 since he's a rookie, even though big things are expected of him. But he goes to Minnesota. He is the guy right now. He is the man. He can shoot as much as he wants, do whatever the hell he wants. He can score 20 points a game if he wants. What does this do to his development as a player in the next 3-4 years?
Honestly, I
think it only helps.
For him. He went from being in one of the teams favored to win the NBA Finals and play with the best player of all time to now going to Minnesota, who hasn't been as awful as some people make them out to be, but they haven't made the playoffs recently. They haven't been abysmally bad, and it's unfortunate they're in the West instead of the East. But they haven't made the playoffs, and now he's just, as a rookie, hey, you need to go save this for us now. And I think he's got the talent that it's possible it could happen, but we see this all the time, too. He could beat a guy that's the next, I don't know, Darius Miles or somebody like that that's just a good athlete but not a great basketball player and is asked to do too much and it never works out. Or it could be the best move the Timberwolves have ever made.
Prior to him going to Kansas, people said Wiggins was the next LeBron James, or the best prospect since LeBron James. So for the Timberwolves to get him is good. I think Flip Saunders can do a world of good for him in helping develop his game. He will be the number one star on that team, and I think he could flourish there. Having said that, unless the Timberwolves make some other moves or unless other players on the team step up, then they're going to keep missing the playoffs. Longest drought in the NBA.
Stacking, the real question, how long until the Timberwolves trade Wiggins somewhere else for money and a player to be named later? How many years?
Oh, probably a year and a half.
You're going
no, wait, David Kahn's not running that. David Kahn's not running that team anymore, so I will give them a considerable. Okay, Kriens, let me ask you this: how familiar are you with the NBA collective bargaining agreement?
I minored in that.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So you're very familiar with it then.
Yes, I am.
Will the Timberwolves be able to offer him the most money when he's eligible to become a free agent?
Yes.
They will.
Yeah.
You know that he didn't originally sign with them. Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Then I would say he's got
the team that you were with. Yeah. I believe that's how.
Okay. Then I will say 6 or 7. I'll give him 6 years until the Timber Puppies trade him.
Okay.
He make the playoffs twice in 6 years.
Boom.
Then they won't trade him because everyone will be like, "Whoa, this is good news. Minnesota has a basketball team."
I think we all know Minnesota's okay with trading guys, no matter how good they are in any sport.
Cleveland.
Cleveland's also okay with doing that.
How the hell did they not win a title in the next 2 years?
Ebola.
LeBron tears an ACL.
Very good. This is the move. Without Kevin Love, they're still the favorites in the East, with Chicago being the only team I would even consider. I told Sack in this a couple days ago. I put Cleveland at 80% to get out of the East. I put Chicago at 20% to get out of the East, and that's it. That's the list. Now with Kevin Love, I mean, LeBron made it to the finals 4 years in a row. I don't know why he couldn't do another 4 years, so 8 years total. That'd be a hell of a run. I don't know if this puts the pressure on them since they're the favorite. I don't think anybody can touch them in the East. So, I mean, obviously everybody else feels this way, I'm assuming.
Yeah, if it's anybody other than Cleveland coming out of the East, it's going to be a severe disappointment for all the Cleveland fans. We'll have to go back to consoling themselves by watching reruns of Major League then.
Nice. I don't think there is another team in the East. I think Charlotte and Washington are going to improve from last year to this year, but they don't light a candle to Cleveland or Chicago.
I'm very interested in this LeBron versus the Spurs storyline. He's better than everybody else except the Spurs. And I hope the Spurs make the finals again. I hope it's Cleveland, San Antonio. I think that'd be tremendous.
Better get
That's
better
your
ratings
perfect
than
NBA
7.
Finals?
That's what I want to see again.
I don't know how realistic this is, but I would like to see Cleveland against Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City to work everything out and be firing on all cylinders. I think just from it could be that or how is it that the cliche always goes, that the sum of the parts might be greater than the whole, but I think with all those guys it'd still be interesting.
I think LeBron needs to win a title in Cleveland in the next 2 years because Kevin Durant will be going to Washington in 2 years, and then watch out for Washington and Cleveland to have this arms battle, if you will. It will be the race to win the East.
Heard it here first.
Yeah, he's not going
From the mouth that told you Rory was winning 20.
He might go to Washington. I don't think he is. That's just.
If he does, though, watch out.
Because he's pretty good. He's pretty good.
You do bring up one thing, though. I'm not saying this will happen, but I suppose we could see where a lot of these stars in the West start saying, you know what, we just go to the East and have a cakewalk to the conference finals every year. So instead of, like trying to bring together 4 megastars to have a chance to get out of the second round of the West, let's just bring 2 megastars to the East and, waltz into the NBA finals then.
Speaking of NBA storylines, how much does a LeBron versus Miami storyline interest you? Like an Eastern Conference Finals, would that get you to watch?
No.
No.
If it actually happened, it might. I think Miami's going to go in the tank, though. Now, the East is so bad, they still might finish 4th, but I don't think anyone realistically thinks that the Heat are going to be playing in conference final. I think it's Chicago and Cleveland outside of major injuries for the next 2 or 3 years.
Will the Eastern Conference Finals, will the Eastern Conference Finals be on ESPN or TNT this year? I think it'll be on
what was it on
TNT.
Eastern Conference, yeah, because there you go. You'll watch it then.
Yes, I will. Only if it's on TNT.
Only if it's
because I like Charles.
Only if it's on the Oxygen channel.
Wow. Avid Oxygen.
Wyatt's always struck me as a guy that watches a lot of Oxygen Channel and Lifetime stuff.
Don't they put the NCAA tournament on there once in a while? Some of the games?
No, that's True TV.
True TV, yeah.
I like Miami to win that division. I like Miami, Chicago semifinal. We'll see if Chicago can actually win something for once. Luol Deng with Miami, I like that. Deng, Wade, and Bosch. Let's suit it up. God dang it. Let's suit it up and see what happens with Miami. I think Miami can win 45 games. I think they can win that division. They can be a 2 or a 3 seed.
Is Rose going to be healthy for your Bulls this year?
If he is, they're going to be pretty goddamn good. But if he's not,
even if he's not, they still might be Eastern Conference Finals without him.
If he's healthy, Heat or Cleveland to Chicago, goddamn.
Yeah, it makes the East more interesting, to me at least, if Rose is healthy.
That should be a hell of a lot of fun. Hell of a lot of fun. Almost an hour in. We'll talk.
And he should be. He's taken, like 3 years off now, it seems like?
Last time he played, Bo Jackson was in Auburn.
You can't get over that. You really can't, can you?
Recurring theme with Bo Jackson in Auburn. Everything happened that year.
Well, it wasn't the first time. It was that time he went back for that tournament in 1997. But still, this has been a long time.
He took 12 years off, came back in 97, took another 17 years off, finally came back. Surprisingly spry for a 75-year-old. Yeah. An hour into the program, we will wrap it up with NFL talk because they played games that did not count with players that do not matter. The Vikings beat Oakland 10-6 in a barn burner. The fire department was called because the barn was burnt down right across the street from FCT Bank Stadium.
No, to be fair, Kriens, 10 goals is a lot in hockey and soccer.
Too bad we're talking foosball. Too bad we're talking
I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were talking American football here.
I know. Vikings Oakland didn't give it away. Spoiler alert. Matt Castle looked pretty goddamn good his one series. Teddy Bridgewater was okay. A lot of penalties to begin his series. Had a nice 21-yard pass to Jennings that did not count. Christian Ponder, goddamn, I'm going to miss that. The defense...
Nope. You'd be the only one.
If we're doing a Sports Lounge Hall of Fame, he's got to be first ballot inductee.
Yeah, I was going to say, talent-wise and success-wise, you might not miss him, but in terms of something to talk about, Christian Ponder's top 3 for Kriens in terms of discussion topics.
It's so awesome. The whole thing's so great, and I loved how poorly he played against a bunch of guys, a bunch of Dale Moss lookalikes. It was a couple of...
Didn't DeWine once say that Matthew Effort was worse than Christian Ponder?
Say that again.
I said, didn't a wise man once say that Matthew Stafford was worse than Christian Ponder?
This was at the beginning of last year. Somebody did say that on Twitter, and I disputed that claim.
A man said that. I don't know about a wise man.
A man did say that.
A guy.
A guy said that.
Yeah, maybe we should say a male instead of a man said that.
Somebody said that on Twitter. That same person also said that he thinks Teddy Bridgewater is the next Tavares Jackson. So we'll see how that pans out. I'm very interested to see who this guy. Is this guy blind, for Christ's sake? Is this Ray Charles' grandson? Could be. There's only a blind man.
Sometimes blindness is hereditary.
It is. Sometimes being a stupid ass is also hereditary. I think we may have a little of that here. If you think Christian Ponder at the beginning of last year was better than Matthew Stafford, and if you think Teddy Bridgewater, I'm sure that's not racially charged whatsoever, is the same as Tavares Jackson, you're out of your
About the same as going into Walmart and trying to buy a futon, seeing the box labeled Negro for color.
Wow.
I was impressed.
He
was impressed.
I was gonna say, was it purposely listing it that way, or was there an English and a Spanish side?
I believe that is the Spanish.
No, this was American English.
American English.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I got nothing then.
We got nothing. Anyways,
Yeah.
Castle was good. Bridgewater was okay. Ponder was fun. Defense was terrific. Mr. Stacken, your thoughts on a 10-6 dominating performance by the Minnesota Vikings?
I will say that I will say that I got a little excited about the Vikings. I'm a little down on football this year for a number of reasons.
One of
them isn't. One of them isn't.
I was gonna say, Stacken.
Go ahead,
I miss seeing jerseys. I really do. You used to wear one every day. I don't know what happened. Every day.
They're retired.
You had a different
They're
one.
retired.
Okay. Well, now
Byron Leftwich is no longer with the Jaguars.
Travis has got the hats now, so I guess that's the new jersey fad. So.
Anyway, I will say that I was a little excited by what I saw. I didn't know I was watching the Vikings at first because when they were on defense because they played like a yard away from the cornerback or from the wide receiver. I've never heard of this phenomenon as Minnesota Vikings football, playing that close to the wide receiver.
It's probably the opposite of Stiglmeier's prevent defense is what it is.
Well, I think it's I thought I was watching Purple People Eaters from the 70s, but
which is
fantastic.
Weird, I thought you weren't born until the late 80s, so that's weird.
I know. I thought it was just like one of those NFL Network throwback to the decade deals that they did this offseason. So I was very impressed by that. I think they have a chance to be a very surprising team this year. Hinges in large part on if Cordero Patterson can break out as a deep threat, as a slot guy. If he can do anything in North Turner's offense, it's going to be fun to watch this year. He made a great third down catch. He made another nice catch earlier with Castle. I think the sky's him. And I'm excited to see what Norv Turner and Mike Zimmer have in lined up and in store for this team, both on the offensive side and the defensive side of the ball.
I'm more excited for the defense because
other than that, the rest of the game was boring.
If that defense is just average, that's a huge improvement. I just want to see them be average. That'll be fun.
I think
Mike Zimmer's had
I think they have a good chance to stop a team like Green Bay.
Well, they got Arizona next week.
And I don't.
They have Arizona next week, slightly better than Oakland, so that'll be a good test. Very interested to see them play Kansas City in the big third preseason game with the points they put up against Cincinnati. NFL preview coming up in a few weeks, but Kansas City, they're not making my playoffs, so that shows you what I think about Kansas City. So a good first game for the Vikings. a 10-6 win. In other news on Friday night, Linval Joseph, nose tackle, defensive tackle, big all-around son of a bitch, was shot. He was grazed. He was grazed by a bullet in the calf. Moo. Apparently he'll be okay. So you get grazed by a bullet. Apparently 9 others were shot. I don't know where the hell he was, what the hell he was doing, what club he was at.
You probably shouldn't go back there, though.
I think.
Yeah, don't go back there. Has any of us...
For a fact. I didn't know this for a fact.
What happened?
I was just throwing out a random bar name in Minneapolis that I know.
Okay.
You're not a regular or anything.
Neat. I've been there a few times.
Yeah. Anybody here been in a situation where you've been shot and or grazed by a bullet?
Only playing video games or laser tag. Never for real.
You ever get one of those laser tag fucking things in the eye? You ever get one of those in the eye?
No, never. I've never taken a laser. I've not had laser eye surgery. I've not had problems with lasers in my eye. Thankfully.
Nathan Sack, have you ever been shot?
Only playing
Playing hangman?
Tell us your Nam story.
No, but he was an innocent bystander.
Oh, good for him.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thanks, Charlie, for bringing up those memories. I had just repressed those back for so long. Now you're bringing them out again. Thanks a lot.
What did he say?
I want him to talk about his time in
He asked me about Nam. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up. I really don't.
Okay, then don't say nothing about it then. Don't say nothing.
I just repressed all those bad memories. I just got done with the doctor.
Drink more beer. That's the solution.
Wyatt Rogan.
I'm empty.
Oh, great. Travis has lost again.
Well, so I guess we got to keep this going.
I think it,
so let's go. Yeah, go ahead.
Overheated again. So same as last time. He says his computer gets too hot and then it just crashes or whatever.
Wyatt, do you have any thoughts on the Vikings game against the Raiders in the preseason?
Were you shot ever? Have you ever been shot, Wyatt?
Are you kidding me? I'm Wyatt Earp. I shoot people. I don't get shot. Right? Fastest gun in the West right here.
You clearly have never gone hunting with Dick Cheney.
No, not yet.
I think most people probably have not gone hunting with Dick Cheney. I think it's not very many people get that choice.
I think a lot of people would rather go hunting for Dick Cheney.
Seems like a waste of time to go after a former vice president, but...
Yeah, right. And you would need more than a .22 shell to bring that guy down. He's fairly big. I'm sorry, that was not an assassination attempt at all whatsoever. I'm probably going to have the motorcycle mafia or something after me now.
Anyway,
no.
Your thoughts on the preseason Vikings game?
I did not watch. I really don't care. I should be a Vikings fan because I'm from Minnesota, but I really am not. I watch them out of sheer curiosity at how bad they will be. But I'm hoping one day that they turn things around and actually go back to losing Super Bowls like they used to.
I'm saying 3 years. 3 years.
3 years?
Yep. They will build the team, and within 3 years, they will be in the Super Bowl. Or at least vying a legitimate contender. A legitimate contender.
All right.
Could happen. We'll see how it shakes out. It'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, Stackin, if it's not going to be for this year, who's going to play in the Super Bowl this year?
Seattle and Denver.
It's going to be a rematch of last year.
I think so.
Really?
However, I'm starting to warm up to the New Orleans Saints. Starting to, but I don't think I can pull the trigger on them quite yet.
Was it the Cowboys and the Bills in the early 90s that were the last teams to both replay in the Super Bowl the following season?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that was the last time.
Yes. Yep. I was going to say Denver made it in the 90s, 98, 99.
They didn't play the
but
same
they played
team both times.
Green Bay. No, they played Green Bay and Atlanta.
But you're going with a repeat of last year. Peyton's
At this point, yes. Yeah, and I think I'm picking Denver more in part due to their defense, getting Aqib Talib and the Ward, that safety from Denver or from Cleveland. I like the pieces that they've added. Oh yeah, didn't they add DeMarcus Ware too? So
they did, and they get Von Miller back from injury.
Yep, I really like, and they have Pot Roast in there too for a defensive tackle, right?
Pot Roast?
Yeah, it's his nickname. I can't remember his legit real name, but Pot Roast is his name. Terrence Knighton. There we go. I like him. I think Denver has what it takes. They get Emmanuel Sanders to replace Eric Decker, which I think is an upgrade. Then they draft that Cody Lattimore from Indiana, Julius Thomas. I think it's pretty well established how they're going to dominate the AFC West again. I'm not as high on Kansas City this year as Kriens is. I think
Kriens isn't very
we
high
saw
on
after
Kansas
they got
City
off
in the first place.
But he said he had them going to the playoffs, right?
No, he said he did not have them going to the playoffs.
Oh, he did. Oh, okay, then I am mistaken.
Very high on them, and I do not have them in the playoffs. So for you saying you're even lower on them, you really don't think they're going to do very well next year.
Okay, I thought he said he had him making the playoffs. So I'm with Kriens then. I don't think they're going to miss. I like Alex Smith. I just don't think they overall as a team have what it takes to make it back to the postseason.
And Travis is working. Can you hear this?
He's mute.
He's muted. So he can hear us.
Perfect.
We can't hear what he's saying, though. And my lip reading skills are not very good.
I don't even see him. I just have a little blue circle for him.
Just to finish this thought, I guess, before we wrap it up, real quick, Super Bowl picks, if you have them already, you can change them later for Wyatt.
I wasn't expecting that.
And we won't hold you to it. You can change your mind later. So don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. Oh.
Can I say which two teams I don't have?
Oh, I'd probably go with the 49ers and the Packers. Would be my two teams to pick. That I would put
the Packers.
They're in the same conference, though.
No, that's true. They are.
Oh,
and I knew that.
NFC, yeah. I would go.
Scratch that to 49ers and Patriots for me.
Okay. I will go with the Packers and probably. Oh, I don't know. Why don't I just say the Packers and the Steelers?
You're not going with the Packers. Kriens wanted the Texas Longhorns, but they're unfortunately not in a high enough division.
Yeah.
I will say that Tennessee and Miami will not make it in. Tennessee and Miami guaranteed not to make it.
Guaranteed. No point in even playing a game this year. Rest up for next
season.
That's
right. Tennessee is going to be the worst team in the NFL this season. They have no one on offense apart from Delaney Walker, who's a tight end.
You don't think Jake Locker is going to lead them to the promised land?
Not a chance in hell.
Yeah, I don't think he probably will either. But I don't know. I don't know if we've got too much more else to do. I mean, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. So I guess on behalf of the muted somehow Travis Kriens, who's been in and out, the Mets general manager,
he's got laryngitis,
and the chief executive operator of the Oxygen Network, Wyatt Rogenkamp. And And, I'm blanking on what it's called. And O'Doul's connoisseur Nathan Stackin. I'm Charlie Hildebrand, and this has been the 78th edition of the Sports Lounge.
Peace.